If you've been scrolling through endless Telecaster listings, watching videos, reading forums, and still can't decide whether any of them actually justify the price tag, you're not alone. The Telecaster market is crowded, and the differences between a standard model and a special edition can feel like marketing fluff until you put one in your hands. In this video I'm breaking down the Fender 75th Anniversary American Professional II Custom Tele, so you can finally tell if the hype lines up with real-world playability. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the biggest thing that trips people up with anniversary models is the expectation that the special parts will automatically make the guitar better for every style. The 75th Anniversary Tele does come with V-Mod pickups, a flame maple top, and a deep C neck, but those are just parts of a larger picture. What matters is how those parts interact when you're actually jamming in a garage, a rehearsal room, or on stage. Let's walk through the experience step by step. When you first unbox the guitar, the first impression is visual. The double-bound Alder body with the flame maple veneer catches the light in a way that feels both classic and a little celebratory. You can see why Fender chose to mark the anniversary with a more elaborate finish. The gold hardware adds a touch of flash without being gaudy, and the push-push tone switch is a small but handy tweak that lets you toggle between the standard Tele twang and a slightly hotter, more mid-focused voice. For players who like to switch tones quickly, that extra switch can actually shave a few seconds off a song change, which is more than a novelty. Now, let's talk about the neck. The deep C profile is something you'll notice immediately if you've ever played a standard Tele with its slimmer, more rounded shape. The rolled fingerboard edges give the neck a smoother feel under the hand, which reduces fatigue during longer sessions. I tested the guitar with a mix of chord-heavy rhythm parts and solo lines that climb up the fretboard. The deeper profile felt solid enough for aggressive bending, yet the rolled edges kept it comfortable when I was just strumming for an hour straight. If you've spent years on a slab neck Tele and find it a bit cramped, this neck shape could be a welcome change. The V-Mod pickups are where the practical differences become clear. In a typical Tele, you get a bright, cutting single-coil sound that's perfect for country or surf tones but can be a bit thin when you push the amp into higher gain. The V-Mod design adds a bit more output and a slightly richer mid-range, which translates to a fuller sound when you drive a tube amp into bluesy overdrive. I ran the Tele through a modest 20-watt combo at 75% gain, and the rhythm tracks sounded more robust than a standard Tele. You still get that classic bite, but there's a subtle warmth that helps the guitar sit better in a mix. If you're a player who dabbles in rock or indie styles and wants a Tele that can hold its own beside a humbucker-armed guitar, you'll appreciate that extra body. On the flip side, that added output means the pickup can be a touch louder than a vintage-style Tele when you crank the volume. In very clean, high-volume settings, think a pristine country shuffle at a big venue, the V-Mod can start to sound a little harsher than a pure vintage single coil. It's not a flaw, but it's a trade-off you should be aware of if you're hunting for the most delicate, glassy tone possible. One of the practical concerns people raise about anniversary editions is the price versus the real upgrades. The 75th Anniversary Tele sits in a premium price bracket, and the upgrades, the flame maple top, gold hardware, V-Mod pickups, and the push-push tone switch are all things you could theoretically add to a standard American Professional II Tele by spending extra on aftermarket parts. The value proposition, then, comes down to convenience and the sense of owning a piece of Fender history. If you enjoy the idea of a limited-run model that commemorates a milestone, the aesthetic and the small ergonomic tweaks are part of the package you're paying for. If you're strictly after a tool for the studio and don't care about the anniversary badge, a regular professional II Tele would likely give you the same core performance for less. Who should buy this? If you're a mid-level player who already owns a basic Tele and is looking for a step up in tone richness, or if you're a gigging musician who wants a single-coil guitar that can double as a semi-rock instrument without swapping guitars, this model hits a sweet spot. The deeper neck profile is also a boon for players with slightly larger hands or those who suffer from hand fatigue after long gigs. The gold hardware and flame maple top give you a visual upgrade that can make a stage presence feel a bit more premium, which is a non-technical benefit you can't ignore when you're performing live. Who should skip it? Beginners who